Hey, welcome back to Icon Coaching. My name's Kirk and I'm one of the coaches.
The key is to get started.
Sometimes when things aren't going well for us, we're given the advice to question everything. In this video, I want to show you why sometimes that's harder than you think. We are often out in the world working to produce results. Results are fantastic. It's what, as business leaders, we're often highly focused on. And we know that our results are the result of behavior, that we have to pay attention to how we and others around us are behaving in the world. Our behaviors produce results. In fact, we'd say results are natural byproducts of behavior. So sometimes the results we're creating aren't what we say we want, and we want to create different results. And so we know we have to make change, and we start by trying to change our behavior. Sometimes that works. Sometimes you just get introduced to a new behavior, and you do it, and you get a different result. It's easy to question your results, and it's easy to question your behaviors. But when you're making changes and you're trying to change behaviors, but you keep failing at it, you keep reverting to old patterns, old behaviors, then what do you question? That's where it gets harder, because like a tree above the ground, our behaviors are the trunk and the structure of the tree, and the results are nothing more than the fruit. But you've got to get underground. And there's a tool that we use in coaching that is fantastic for this. We call it the why shovel. We start asking the question why over and over and over, because the question why just digs. How come it digs? How come it's so good at that? It's because it is the emptiest of all questions. When you ask the question why, you are not revealing anything about your agenda. You're not revealing anything about what you already know. You're not loading it with trigger words. You're not loading it with embedded solutions. The other thing about empty questions is they open up a vacuum, and vacuums need to be filled. Asking a why question just invites people into it, and you can ask the question why over and over and over, and it just keeps opening up these spaces that people try to fill. Why digs. This is why it's actually an impolite question. If you ask the why question once, that's fine. But if you ask it 3 or 4 times, it becomes an interrogation. People can feel put on the spot. When you're looking at asking questions and you're being invited to question everything, we actually want to dig. We need to get underground and see what's in the foundation. What is this? What are these results and behaviors built on? As you start to dig, what you'll find is one of the ways to think about what they're built on is conclusions that you've come to. Conclusions, what do I mean by conclusions? Well, it's simply this. We come to conclusions. We come to a settledness about how the world works, about what things mean. We settle on this, and it becomes a foundation for our behavior. Our behaviors are built on the conclusions we've come to about how the world works. Behavior is a natural byproduct of conclusion, but very often those conclusions we came to them so long ago that we don't really remember them. We've buried them. We've put them out of sight. They're just habits now. They're underground. But here's what's interesting. If you can start to interrogate your conclusions with the why shovel, you'll start to crack this concrete up, and you can get past it, because we often think our conclusions are built on facts. We think they're built on, like, that is how the world works. That may or may not be true. There's all sorts of things going on here in our conclusions that aren't facts. They're filters and interpretations. They're perspectives and point of views, because what our conclusions are actually built on is belief. Our beliefs drive our conclusions, and our conclusions drive our behaviors, and our behaviors drive our results. If you're finding it difficult to change your behaviors, it's time to look at your conclusions. But don't stop there, because when you crack through those, what you'll find is your beliefs. And to change anything in your life, you got to look at your beliefs. When you're invited to question everything, they mean everything, down to the level of the meaning structures of your life. Now, that can feel like a massive, big, philosophical journey into the questions of being and what's the purpose of life and why do I exist? And sometimes that's the depth you'll be invited to go to. But often it's simpler stuff. It's things that happen every day in our life. Let me give you an example. Let's say you're trying to get a new contract with a customer. You've got a really good idea and a really good solution to their problem, and they reached out and you've had a nice dialogue. You've nurtured the lead, you've had some meetings, and it's all going well. And you ask them, is this something you want to pursue? And they say, yes, this feels good. So you go back to your office and you write a proposal. and they say, this looks great, let me take it to my partners and I'll get back to you. And then a day or two goes by and you don't hear from them. And they were really excited. This felt really good. And so it's a bit surprising that they haven't reacted at all to your email and your text outreach and nothing. And then 3 or 4 more days go by and you don't hear from them. And you start to feel like this whole thing's falling apart. And you start to feel bad inside and you start to be upset at home and you just get down and your behavior starts to shift to this grumpy, upset, hurt, disappointed person. Well, why? Why are you upset? Why are you disappointed? What conclusion have you come to? And you can start to play with your thoughts. Why am I so upset? Why am I mad at people? Why do I feel like I'm going to have to start laying people off, or maybe I can't spend money on that, or why do I feel like next year's not going to go well for us and it's all falling apart? What? Oh, because I've come to the conclusion that this person has ghosted me. I've concluded they're not going to do this deal. In fact, all the positive energy that they were giving me in the other meetings we were having was probably a lie. They were just baiting me, or they were just goading me, or they were just being positive when I was in their presence. But when I sent them the email and I asked them to sign the proposal, they're not going to do that. I've concluded that they were lying to me. They actually don't like me, and I'm not going to get this contract. Why? Why would I conclude that? And you start to crack at that conclusion. And the way to get through that spot is actually learn to suspend your conclusions. You don't have to call them wrong. You don't have to say they're bad. You don't have to dismiss them. Just suspend them for a moment. Because our conclusions become like concrete, and what we need to do is make them more like a cloud. We need to be able to drop beneath them, get through them, crack down into, what do I believe that has caused me to come to that conclusion? Why am I concluding that this potential customer is ghosting me, is lying to me? Oh, because I already believe that I'm not worth doing business with. I already believe that I'm not worth anything. Well, if I believe I'm not worth anything, of course I would come to the conclusion that they're not going to sign the contract. I've just taken this experience and read it through my beliefs. When we can interrogate our conclusions and our beliefs using the why shovel to unearth what they are, it's amazing what we find sometimes. It's often incredibly critical, and we should question that. For instance, what if they're just on vacation? What if they're actually nervous and scared themselves and feeling insecure about signing this kind of contract? It's such an exciting thing and they want it really bad, but what if they don't feel worthy of working with you? You can come to all kinds of other conclusions, but to do those things, you'd have to believe something different. So the first tool I want to offer you on how to interrogate your beliefs is to use the why shovel. Just keep digging until you can hear the conclusion you've come to and dig beyond that by suspending that conclusion to get to what you believe. And then let me give you 2 very quick tools on how to see if you're willing to change your beliefs. Just find out if your beliefs are helpful. Number 1, just say them out loud. It's amazing how valuable it is just to say out loud what you actually believe and the conclusion you've come to. For instance, if this was me and I was to say, oh, I believe that I'm not worth working with, that I'm not valuable as a contractor, and I've come to the conclusion that these people are lying to me to my face and they're actually ghosting me. When you say those words out loud, instead of just letting them rattle around the back of your head, it can be shocking how quickly you can change your mind. I don't actually believe that. Why would I even think that? And you can change your behaviors. If that doesn't do it, try this. Would I say this to a very good friend? Would I say to a friend, you know why that person hasn't called you back? Because you're not worth working with. You don't have any value, and you should come to the conclusion that they're going to ghost you and they're lying to your face. You would never say that to your friend. That sounds pathological. It's the worst kind of thing to say to somebody. But if you wouldn't say it to your friend, why are you saying it to yourself? These kinds of beliefs, I'm not worthy of working with, build conclusions in our life that drive behavior that drive our results. If you don't like the results you're getting, use the why shovel to question everything. And what you're looking for is what we call cognitive distortions. If you're telling yourself something that you would not tell a close friend, That's a cognitive distortion. It's a distorted lens through which you're looking at the world. We can hear it in other people's language really easily. It's very hard to hear it on our own because we have decided, we have concluded that it's a fact, that it's true in the factual sense. But it's not. It's true in the sense of belief. It's truly what you believe. There's quite a list of cognitive distortions that play in our minds, and when you learn how to see them, you can learn how to change your beliefs. We work with our clients on this all the time because most of the people who aren't getting the results in their life that they want are behaving in a way that's unhelpful because of a conclusion they've come to built on something they believe. Change your belief, change your results. I'm not telling you it's easy. It's just not complicated. It's hard, but worth it.